we are 7.
Not really, Chair.
Thank you. Really?
No, you need 6.
Oh, okay.
Chair is not a quorum, but proceed now. There's Msholos, you are comfortable.
Hayi-ke kulungile Mthombeni.
Hayi nathi sikhona usuna uquorums.
Hawu,
Sesiphakathi.
hawu. Ngiyabonga Mtakabhuti. Thank you, honorable members. Can we formally start? Good morning. Let me welcome all the honorable members who are here with us in this meeting. Greetings to Honorable Nkonyeni and her team. Thank you for availing yourselves for this meeting in this cold weather. But because we are the servants of our people, we have to push on. Thank you, members. We have our agenda. Utabi sent it to us, but we will talk about it when we get to item number 4. There are a few things that one would like to add. On apologies, honorable members, we have an apology from Honorable Mayor, who will join us later. Honorable Nxumalo will leave early and come back if possible. He has a clash. There's another meeting that he needs to attend. Item number 3, our meeting corrects. Then on item number 4, honorable members, we are going to add 2 items, the chairperson's report, so that we don't convene another meeting, because the budget debate will be on the 4th. So I thought it will be much convenient if we do it today, so that we don't have another meeting. Then the second one will be the AOP. It means immediately after we are done with the departmental reports, then we will entertain ours as the portfolio committee. That is all, honorable members. We are now on item number 4, adoption of the agenda. Can I get a mover?
I move, Honorable Chair, with amendments.
Thank you, Honorable Nzima. Unzima is moving with some amendments of additional 2 items. Can I get somebody who seconds him?
It's the second, Shalom.
Msholos.
Yes.
Honorable members, we are now on item number 6. Honorable Nkonyeni.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Greetings to all members who have attended this meeting. Chair, I will be very brief in my remarks because we are now busy preparing for our budget speech, and most of the items will be dealt with during the budget debates for sure. But I will just highlight a few issues, of course, the department has prepared a fuller presentation on the issues that I want to raise right now. Chairperson, the corona pandemic has truly exposed the levels of vulnerability in our communities, and the ugly head of poverty has once again challenged us to reflect on our responsibility to commit ourselves to drawing deep into our consciences to do more than we regard as enough. The expanded public works program is considered by many as one of those largest programs that have to do with addressing the issues of poverty, while also ensuring issues of productivity. The program also adds value to basic service delivery. In the past financial year, the province of KwaZulu-Natal exceeded the set target by over 31,000 job opportunities. The target for this current financial year is 125,612 job opportunities. The department, as the assigned coordinator of EPWP, will focus on ensuring compliance and also providing technical support. We have reviewed the recruitment and selection guidelines to place more emphasis on transparency and also ensure greater integrity of the process as a whole. In the new guidelines, we have insisted on clarity on the demographics. In particular, we have included a 60% women target, and we are also targeting people with disabilities, our young people, and all other vulnerable groups. With the opening of schools, the social cluster has tasked us to place about 6,000 EPWP beneficiaries at schools to conduct screening. They will be trained by the Department of Health. And I must say, it's not only us that are going to participate in that screening program, but other departments that participate in the social cluster, like your Department of COGTA, like DSD, are also going to be contributing towards ensuring that both teachers and learners are screened before going to classrooms. So we are busy dealing with that program now as a department as the social cluster as a whole, because there was a decision taken there that we should support learning in the province and ensuring that there is compliance with the lockdown regulations. As we all know that we are faced with this coronavirus in the province. The program is in partnership here with various departments, as I have already mentioned. And given the nature of the program, the challenges have forced us to dig deep and apply an activist approach of hands-on and of being practical, while also enforcing compliance. The recruitment and selection process needs to be monitored more closely, and we have directed the administration to reduce the chances of manipulation and corruption, that has been happening throughout the years with regards to this particular program. We will also ensure that municipalities understand their roles and responsibilities and also improve on the reporting factor. We have identified municipalities that generally have issues with EPWP and will pay closer attention to their processes. PPE has become also critical for the beneficiaries, and we are concerned about the budget cuts and overall limitations with regards to EPWP budget. However, we'll continue to stretch our resources. We have requested the Chief Director to pay closer attention to the recruitment processes, the Chief Director responsible for EPWP. I'm convinced, Honorable Chairperson and other members, that we will achieve the set targets and overall performance of the program in this current financial year. With those few words, Honorable Chairperson and other members, I thank you very much for this opportunity. Siyabonga.
Thank you, Honorable MEC. May I appeal to those who will be doing the presentation to show their face. We are on YouTube. My apologies for not mentioning it before, Honorable MEC. I've just been alerted, so my apologies to that. We are now on discussions. Members, is there anyone who would like to take a bite on what the MEC has said? But let me also remind the honorable members that we do have a standing item on EPWP. So I would therefore propose that we don't entertain it now at this level so that we receive the whole presentation. Otherwise, with any other issue that you'd like to check from the MEC, can I note hands? Likhona ilunga elifuna ukusho something ngqongqoshe. It's clear, Honorable MEC, that the members are getting ready for the budget debates, so they don't want to spoil the mood. They want to give you everything on the 4th. Thank you, honorable members. Let's now go to item number 8. In the absence of hands, let's go to item number 8. Item number 8, it's minutes of the previous meetings. Members, let me once more apologize that we did not entertain them last time in our special meeting after we have adopted the agenda. But today we will entertain these minutes, and they were sent in time. I will therefore request Nestor to beam it for us. And can he please be slowly? Can he please do it slowly? Because some of us are using the same gadgets, so we will rely on these beamed ones. These are the minutes of the 23rd of April. We are on page 1. Move, Nestor. Hamba bungatotob kakhulu. We are on page 2. Oh, that was page 3. Okay, continue. Page 6. Thank you, Nestor. Can the honorable members confirm if this is indeed the true reflection of the meeting that we had?
Chair, I hereby confirm.
Thank you, Honorable Mshengu. Can I get a seconder for Honorable Mshengu?
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Cele. Can we move to the second set of minutes for the 28th of April 2020? Continue. Yeah, put it by my son. Thank you.
Sihlalo kunalemfene ekhalayo somewhere iyaphazamisa.
Ijuba, kuhlala amajuba la ekhaya kunokuthula. So I'm very sorry about that. And this is the only spot where I can get network. I'm very sorry, honorable members.
Awulasho lathula shuthi liyeza uthi liyasihlupha.
Hey, Nkosi yami sengilixoshe ngahluleka. Thank you. Can I get the confirmation, honorable members?
Honorable Chair.
Honorable Raj, you're welcome.
Yeah, sorry, I've got a bit late with social development.
No, it's okay, dear. Honorable Raj is confirming. Can I get a seconder?
Second, Chair.
Sholos, can we move to the third set? The department doesn't have this one because they were not part of this meeting. It's only us as members. Continue, Nestor. Members, any confirmation again on this?
I confirm, Honorable Chair.
Nzima. Any seconder?
Ngiyasekela Sihlalo.
Hey maningi mshengu nami ngangithi ngizama yikho ngangizama ukuwafaka ngefastela nje. Ngangibona kona ukuthi hayi azoba maningi. Thank you, honorable members. The next set of the meeting, it's the 7th of May 2020. Continue with yeah. Members, can I get a mover?
I move, Chair.
Honorable Raj is moving. Can I get a seconder?
Second, Chair.
Mpai Peli is seconding. Thank you, honorable members. Let's move to our last set of the meeting. The meeting of the 19th of May, which was a special meeting. Can I get a mover, honorable members?
Siyamuva Chairperson.
Msholozi. Okusekelayo. Osekela umsholozi.
Cele Chair.
I second, Chair.
Okay. Mam Velase Noduma. Thank you. Members, let's now move to the next item, which is item number 10. Thank you for adopting all the minutes. We are now on item number 10, which is matters arising. The first one that we will deal with is infrastructure delivery management systems. The documents were sent to us by the department. HOD, please come in.
Honorable Chair, my apologies. The camera is not working on this laptop.
Okay.
But it's fine.
There's noise in your background, HOD.
Honorable Chairperson, he may use mine.
Okay. Thank you, MEC.
Okay.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable members, our Honorable MEC and colleagues. Honorable Chair, the two matters arising, we, as you have said, Chair, we have submitted the documentation, and with your permission, the second one is just for information, but obviously if there are any questions, with your permission, I'd like to ask Mr. Majola to take us through. We've actually submitted a very comprehensive presentation on the whole IDMS program, and we have got external support. We've got competent people that are assisting the department to make sure that the IDMS process is aligned properly, because we're going through the new service delivery model, and we're also using the IDMS support to help us with the new organogram that the department needs. As our Honorable MEC always says, that we're one of the only departments that still talk about regions instead of districts. So to align with the district development model, part of the IDMS will then, and the new service delivery model will look at the organogram. So with your permission, Honorable Chair, we ask Mr. Majola to please present briefly.
Continue.
Thank you, HOD. Greetings to the Honorable Chairperson and Honorable members, and also the MEC and colleagues. Chair, I will be very quick. In terms of the IDMS was developed to ensure uniformity as well as consistency to all government spheres in delivering infrastructure, also to ensure the accountability of all officials who are implementing the infrastructure in the entire country. What the IDMS is, the Infrastructure Delivery Management System, is a component of government policy for implementing government strategy to enhance socio-economic growth and development through infrastructure delivery. The legality of the IDMS for application in all spheres of government is endorsed by the 9 provincial IDMS framework documents, which have been approved by all provincial ESCOs, thereby by endorsing IDMS in each province. So therefore the IDMS, it's a national system that is being implemented throughout the country to ensure that uniformity across all government spheres. The Division of Revenue Act, the Presidential Infrastructure Coordination Committee, the Framework for Infrastructure Delivery and Procurement Management, which is FIDM. While IDMS in itself is not a legislation, elements of it are mandatory and legislated. The IDMS and the IDM toolkit contain elements that are mandatory legislated insofar as providing guidelines and templates that are required for compliance to legislation, e.g. Public Finance Management Act, Municipal Finance Management Act, DORA, which is Division of Revenue, GIAMA, as well as CITP Act, recommended with reference to the general accepted locally and internationally good practices, optional reference to the proven practice templates and tool techniques. What informs the IDMS? There are policies, standards, and good practices informing the IDMS, the constitution, the legislation, regulation, policies, for example, National Development Plan, instruction framework for infrastructure delivery and procurement management, which previously known as the SIPDM, and also circulars, frameworks, CITP standard for uniformity, standards like your SENS, asset management system standard, good practices and guidelines. The diagram that is indicated on the right-hand side, it does show the integration and coordinations amongst all relevant parties or activities that are informed to ensure that infrastructure is being delivered successfully or efficiently. In terms of the background of where we're coming with the IDMS, it started as long as 2002 up to date. There are a number of versions which are coming on board, as well as revision in terms of the procurement system that we are dealing with in terms of infrastructure delivery. Moving to the next slide, the timeline for development of the IDMS, as I indicated, only started as back as 2002, 2001, 2004, 2006, a number of versions that have come on board, which National Treasury is currently dealing with in coordination as well as in working with all relevant stakeholders like all provincial government as well as national departments. Quickly moving to the next slide, which is the main slide, which just indicates the integration and coordination of the asset management, supply chain, as well as planning and budgeting for all infrastructure that we intend to deliver in the province. The next slide just shows and indicates the importance of the Government Immovable Asset Management Act as well as the infrastructure development. In a light note, it does say that you can't develop or upgrade any infrastructure without taking note of the existing infrastructure that you have as a province. Forward. In terms of the next slide, those are the gates which are ensuring the responsibility and accountability in terms of the approval for each and every gates before you go to the implementation. It's more of a system that will ensure accountability and responsibility in terms of the gates. The next slide. This is just the hierarchy and alignment of policies and strategies and planning in government. I won't go through all of them, but they are there, such as PHLUMA, National Development Plan, PGTS. Before you do any infrastructure, as I indicated earlier on, that the infrastructure delivery also contribute a lot in terms of the social growth, socio-economic growth of the province. So we need to ensure that it's aligned to all those specific strategies. Moving to the planning. The strategic planning and the IDMS, the IDMS is an integral part of the public sector strategic planning and service delivery system. It relates to and interacts with these government systems that are indicated in the slide below, as well as talking about the input, activities, output, and outcome, and the impact, which is the most critical things. Why do you have to do to deliver that kind of infrastructure? What impact will it have at the end of the day to the people? The following slide, it's just give more details in terms of the impacts that will have at the end of the day once the infrastructure is being delivered. Then the following slide, it's more of the instruction notes that has been issued by the National Treasury to ensure uniformity and consistency amongst all government spheres. The processes, the framework for infrastructure delivery and procurement management system. This is the one that has been issued by Treasury last year. I think it was on the 26th of April 2019 to say this is how now we are expected as government spheres to implement and to procure infrastructure. The following slide is more on the controlling and strategic planning and authorizing and controlling, review and improvement. So it's more of the processes that are involved in terms of portfolio processes, program management processes, operation and maintenance of the infrastructure. The following slide is also a detail in terms of the procurement arrangement as well as the contracting arrangement and delivery plan, so I won't go in detail into that. And also the rest, the following slide, it's more of the immovable asset management in national and provincial government, also that has been issued by the National Department of Public Works, which also is aligned with the Government Immovable Asset Management Act. The circulars which talk of the planning and budgeting process, which requires provincial department to submit prioritized project list in a V5 format to provincial treasuries for tabling. Section 13 of 1B of the dollar, it also treasuries to make public and project list within 7 days after tabling. Department should exercise diligence in the selection of project to be tabled in order to ensure that the credible information is published and reported. Detailed information to guide the department is also attached as Annex A, which is more of the B5 format that Treasury is working on yearly basis. As well as the following slides, those are the timelines that are given to all government departments to submit their infrastructure priority list or plan before it's being tabled or being captured to the B5 format of the Treasury's system. That's all, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Majola. Any additions, HOD?
That's just the timelines.
Honorable Chair, I'm not sure if you'd like us to deal with the second matter rising first.
Okay, continue. HOD.
Honorable Chair, we'll go to the second matter arising, which was a request from the honorable members for a report on consultants, and we have given a comprehensive list. With your permission, honorable members and honorable Chair, Mr. Majola will just take us through. There's just 4 slides to talk to it.
Okay, proceed.
Thank you, HOD. In terms of the consultant appointed on the active project, in summary, consultants, we've got architects, which are working on 278 projects. We've got civil engineers, which are also working on 217 projects. Construction, health and safety, we've got only 1 consultant appointed. The electrical engineers, we've got they are doing project number of 281 projects which are currently active. Geotechnical engineers, 106. Land surveyors, 114. Mechanical engineers, 132. Project management, 3,196. Quantity surveyors, 317. Structural engineers, 205. The grand total in terms of the number of projects which consultants are involved in is 4,847. In terms of the details, the summary table above is inclusive of all projects that the department is currently busy with. Some of these projects started some years back. The details are as follow are attached. The 95% of consultants were appointed in 14-15 up to 18-19 financial years. So therefore, the list of projects which are currently at the implementing stage are as a result of those appointments. While the department is reducing the number of consultants appointments, It also has the responsibility to transform the construction professional industry by creating opportunities for previously disadvantaged groups. The current recruitment and selection of professionals within the department will only yield tangible results in the next 2 years, considering the infrastructure planning cycle. The details in terms of the names as well as the projects, consultants that are involved, is attached. With your permission, Chairperson, can I not go through the names as well as the names of the project as well as the names of the consultants? The list is endless. I thank you, Chair.
Honorable Chair, just to close it off, if you notice that the complexities in public works, you got 5,000 running projects. And what we're trying to do is what we've asked Mr. Majola to consolidate and see how many consultants, because we're currently going through a process of reducing consultants and going turnkey and using particularly our own professionals. During the recruitment process, there are some new professionals that have come in, and they will deal with the project planning and initiation, so that we know exactly what the project estimates are before we actually get the project going. It's unavoidable to have external consultants because of the necessary insurances, and to also those consultants carry the guarantees for us. So as we're reducing, we will make sure that we have more productivity and more focus on service delivery. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, HOD. Members, the ball is in your court. We had both presentations from the department. It's now our opportunity to engage the presentations. Can I see members who would like to contribute in these items? I'm noting Honorable Thembiso Mshengu, Honorable Shamin. I'm still taking names.
Duma. Yes.
Okay, Honorable Shamin, you may come in.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I really want to thank Mr. Majola for the detailed report. I think that for us as members, as we read through them, it will give us an opportunity to actually maybe see what areas can be like a standing item on our agenda, things that we need to focus with, especially because the HOD has said, we're trying to cut down on consultants and move towards improving capacity within the department. And I think that for us, it's important to understand the different processes or activities and see what are the things that we can monitor from our side as a committee. But obviously, it will be the fact that we have to look at how that graph, if I may say, is going with the toning down of external consultants, and then the increase in capacity with maybe even learnerships and all kinds of things that the department may embark on. So I think that is very important, but I also do agree with him that in some instances it is unavoidable to have external consultants. But otherwise, I just want to thank them for this comprehensive document. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Raj. Honorable Mshengu, your line is not that clear today, Honorable Raj. I hope Umajola got the comments.
Chair, thanks, man. Am I allowed to continue?
Yes.
Thanks, Chair. Thank you very much for the detailed presentation from the officials led by the HOD, in particular, Mr. Majola. It's a very comprehensive presentation. Nevertheless, I have a few concerns. The consultants on the panel right now were appointed during the financial year 14-15, and their contracts, if I were to be correct, ended in 18-19. Now, what is their status? Are they still in on the roll simply because their projects are still ongoing? What is the process of regularizing their being service providers to the department when their contracts have expired? The other leg of it is the whole concept of reducing the amount of consultants or external service providers. Already, as we speak, we have quite a number of projects that are lagging behind in terms of the time frames. If we were to insource, let's say hypothetically almost 50% of the consultancy base, and we create an internal capacity that will take at least almost 50% of the current external service provision by the consultants. How would we then fare in terms of making sure that the contracts run on time and there are no overruns in terms of finances and so on? I just wanted that clarity, because if the department says there are efforts now to insource, how long will that initiative take, and what would be the benefits other than perhaps reducing the amount that goes to the consultants? Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mshengu. Honorable Duma.
Thank you so much, Chair, for affording us the opportunity to echo our views. Thanks, very chronological presentation, since the MEC has just highlighted what is going to happen in terms of the state of the department. I think what was presented by Ubabu Majola is going to be the leeway of ensuring that indeed this department becomes an implementing agent of choice, because we can just state currently that there's been some inconsistencies, there's been some contradiction, because you used to have KUHA, you used to have IDT and Public Works, and you used to have departments not paying on time, and that compromises the issue of service delivery. I hope this IDMS will be a tool as well to address that gap that has been there. And I would want to understand from them, because it's a new tool that is going to be utilized, and there will be the teething problems. Currently, I think it started, the benchmark has been started in the Western Cape province. Amongst other principles of IDMS, Chair, is the issue of Black empowerment, which must come to the T. And you must just understand, Chair, that there are professional bodies in South Africa. In the main, they are not yet transformed. Even if it means that you want to have a lot of provincial registered, you want to have advanced quantity surveyors, you will still struggle, because you still have to undergo these processes. And this department is also versatile enough to circumvent the slow growth that is currently happening, because if they don't monitor the growth of black professionals will still be stunned if it means that they are giving them more funding. So I think Honorable Nkonyeni will monitor this and ensure that there are new characteristics of a business that is going to take place in the department. And Chair, I think it is also critical that for me, as a portfolio committee in the department, we still require a holistic workshop where we invite all the departments that trades with public works or the service provider as a service provider and implementing agent, so that we are clinical in terms of the process of transfer, because that's where the issue of service delivery is compromised. If education pays late, then they'll jeopardize the chances. If health pays late, then the chances will be jeopardized. Unfortunately, that's how we measure their strength. So those are the issues, Chair, that will think will enhance the growth and the development of the department. Other than that, we are more satisfied, and we will support them thoroughly on ensuring that this does take place, and the Africans who were disadvantaged in the past do benefit in the process in terms of quantum and in terms of skills transfer, because that's what has been missing as well. Slowly, we must ensure that there is a skills transfer, so that we are saying that we have built the new emergent of business. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Duma. Can I check Honorable Rajbans? Do you have your hand up? Honorable Raj, your hand is up. Do you want to come in again? Oh,
No,
okay.
Chair. No,
Okay.
Chair. Sorry, maybe my mistake. I don't know. Let me put this off here.
Oh,
okay,
okay.
sorry, Chair.
Thank you, thank you. Honorable HOD.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, if we go through the list, and thank you so much, appreciation, because there's a lot of advice that we have received. Starting with Honorable Rajbansi's question, or it was more of advice to create a graph that grows the internal capacity, and we can see what the reduction will be of private consultants. And we do take that as sound advice, that we want to monitor that and see it grow. Honorable Mshengu is absolutely correct that the consultants that were appointed from 2014, what happens is that sometimes we'll appoint a consultant, they'll do stage 1 and 2, they'll start the planning process, and then because of budgetary constraints, a client department will then stop certain projects at that point, and then you restart a project maybe 2 or 3 years later. So those are the cases, and we currently, Mr. Majola is cleaning out those cases. So you wouldn't have a situation where there's just a delinquent consultant that's on the books. And Honorable Mshengu is correct. There are some consultants on that list where the project is done, but we're showing it and reflecting it as a project that is there, because there would be issues of retainers or some final conclusions that need to be done on the project. I do not think that we will ever reach a point of 50% in-source. It's just not affordable for the state to carry that level of professionals. But with the creation of CEDA, we're going to have that capacity in the agency that will then be able to, because our main aim is not to replace consultants on sites, but to make sure that the monitoring and the supervision of the site is done. And the other issue is that you want to reduce the professional fees have ballooned and escalated outside of the norms and standards. One would expect that professional fees should not exceed 15% of the project value, but you're finding that in some projects the professional fees are exceeding that, and that's where our crisis is as a department, is to make sure that we align it to the right values. And then also with the advice that we've got from Honorable Mshengu around making sure that we structure them and create the balance between internal. There are internships. We've got professionals that then convert. The Honorable MEC gives bursaries. We send those for the professional training, and then when they come back, they take internships. And last year, the Honorable MEC was actually at a youth summit. Some of these professionals who are now full-time in the department, gave speeches on how they grew within the department. Honorable Duma, the payment on time, we in KZN, unlike some provinces, if you take the Western Cape, which was the example you made, their projects, once the project list is done, the money gets transferred to Public Works. In our case, we run a fund in Treasury where we implement the projects and then we claim from the client department. It is a problem. The reconciliation of that fund, in fact, we just had, because of lockdown now, almost had a crisis with education because we were sitting at 170 million or so that was unpaid from education. But that's an ongoing issue on the turnaround time from client departments on projects. On the other issue, Honorable Duma, with the IDMS, the empowerment part, the professional bodies, and I'm taking the advice that you are giving, that in the professional bodies, we need to find ways of rather going around those. Some of them you cannot, but to engage them, because if you take CIDB, it's our own agency as the state. So CIDB, we're able to talk to them, negotiate with them on certain of their conditions. But with the other bodies, it's really a uphill battle to try and convince them to recognize technicians more than the professionals, because the technicians are the ones that actually do the work. And empowerment, what we've done on the IDMS, we've made sure that we're going to stress the issue of empowerment, because our racial demographics on consultants is skewed. We do have a problem. And that is something that we need to change as well. And we also, I'll take Honorable Rajvansi's advice that we'll change it in a graph, we'll show it in a graph as well. Agreed on the workshop with all departments that are transferring funds. The fortunate thing is that in education and health, the two bigger client departments, they have very strong competencies, technical competencies in infrastructure. So we can use that type of workshop also to learn from the client departments on what the expectations are, because it's always about more coordination than project implementation. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Sorry, the Honorable MEC.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Maybe in the next meeting, you may invite the department to come over and present on our progress with regards to the establishment of SIDA, a Strategic Infrastructure Delivery Agency. It's an agency that is still in a process of being established, and maybe it would be prudent if we may then present to the portfolio committee about the objectives of the establishment of SIDA and how far are we. I think we will gladly come over to the portfolio committee and make a presentation with regards to that. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Honorable MEC and your team. Can we proceed to the next item, honorable members, which is the item on the EPWP? Honorable MEC and your team.
Thank you, Honorable and honorable members and our Honorable MEC. We've also prepared, Mr. Dlamini is not physically with us, but he is in the meeting, and with your permission, Honorable Chair, as the Chief Director responsible for EPWP, I'll request him to please do the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, HOD. Greetings to the chairperson and the honorable members. Greetings to our MEC and colleagues. My presentation is a very short presentation which will cover mainly all EPWP related programs that we are responsible for as the Department of Public Works. I will begin with a presentation on on the COVID-19 response project, which is a program or a project that we are busy with together with the Department of Education. Chairperson, basically on this program, the Department of Public Works is in a process of appointing 6,000 EPWP beneficiaries to be placed in all schools across the province. And these beneficiaries will be conducting screening for all personnel entering the school premises as from the 1st of June, which is next week, Monday. The school governing bodies are responsible for the recruitment and identification of one beneficiary per school through the Department of Education, and there is going to be a monthly stipend paid to the beneficiaries of about 2,000 rands. The program will be implemented for a period of 3 months, starting from June, running through to August. The stipends will be paid through the Department of Public Works PESAL system at a regional level. In terms of the procurement of the PPE, that is a responsibility of the Department of Education. The KZN Department of Health is responsible for induction and training of beneficiaries before commencement of work, and I've just spoken to the Chief Director at the Department of Education, who confirmed that as we speak, they are busy with the training in the various schools. A budget of 38 million has been identified for this program for the payment of stipends. The department will obtain the list of participants from the Department of Education during this week, before the end of this week, so that we finalize the issue of contracts. The training will be conducted on Friday, as I've reported in the above slide. In the next program is the EPWP school maintenance program. On this program, the Department of Public Works is in the process of appointing 4,826 beneficiaries to be placed in 2,413 schools across the province in 2020 and 2021 financial year. The program targets 100% youth. The program will be implemented in two phases due to budgetary constraints. Phase 1 will be for a period of 6 months from July to December, and phase 2 will be implemented for a period of 3 months from January to March 2021. Quintal 1 and Quintal 2 schools will be prioritized. The list has been received from the Department of Education. EPWP beneficiaries and team leaders will receive a monthly stipend of 2,000 rands and 3,200 rands respectively. The stipends will be paid through departmental PESAL system as well through the regional office level. The program activities will include basic infrastructure maintenance, such as grass cutting and yard cleaning, fixing of broken windows, in schools attending to pipe leakages. The recruitment and selection criteria is as reflected on the diagram on slide 8. There's going to be a project introduction, beneficiaries selected through war rooms or district development model, kind of a setup, and the chairperson, which is a ward councillor or any other delegated member, approves the beneficiary list. Then contracting and induction takes place, which is done by the Department of Public Works. In terms of the procurement of PPE, in response to the government's radical economic transformation, the department will be procuring the protective clothing through the emerging cooperatives or black or small black-owned businesses. The procurement will be centralized at the head office. The intention is to optimize beneficiaries while ensuring that the quality is not compromised. The following items will be procured. It's the safety boots, EPWP branded overalls in yellow, and EPWP branded sun hats in yellow. We are moving away from the orange overalls to the yellow overalls, as it has been a decision both at the level of Lekgotla and also at the national level. There was an agreement that we have to move away from the orange color. There's going to be also part of the PPE, the natural latex gloves, COVID-19 PPE, EPWP branded 3-ply face mask, cloth and washable. Then we're also going to be having the face shield. In terms of the public bodies that did not receive the integrated and social sector grants for the year 2020 to the year 2021, the report, the next slide details those public bodies and the reasons. The provincial coordinator has noted that there are provincial public bodies that will not be receiving their grants in 2020-2021 financial year. And these provincial public bodies are as follows. On the EPWP social sector grant, it's the KZN Department of Arts and Culture, KZN Department of Sports and Recreation. Under the EPWP integrated grant, it's the Department of Health and the Department of Sports and Recreation. The eligibility criteria for all EPWP grant is as follows. EPWP social sector grant, the departments must report at least 50% of their 2018-2019 sector plans on full-time equivalence target. On the EPWP integrated grants, departments must report at least they must report at least 26 full-time equivalents in their 2018-2019 financial year. Considered the reports for full-time equivalents are for the infrastructure and the environment and culture sector projects. The next slide basically breaks down the social sector grants or public bodies that will not receive the social sector grants. On the Department of Sports and Recreation, the social sector grant, the full-time equivalence target that they had was 598, and the reported achievement is 119, translating to 33%. On the integrated grant, their target on full-time equivalence for 2018-2019 was 26, and their reported achievement is 22, as reflected on the slide. On the Department of Arts and Culture, on the integrated grant, the full-time equivalence target was 26, and the reported achievement is 13. On the Department of Health, on the social sector grant, their target was 9,380, and they reported 2,124 achievement, which translates to 23%. The next slide will cover the fourth quarter provincial performance for the year 2019-2020, which is the last financial year. On the overall provincial performance, the target for the work opportunities was 77,877, and the work opportunities achieved are at 107,019. The target for full-time equivalents was 40,703, and what was achieved was 50,433, translating to 137% on work opportunities and 124% on full-time equivalents, which is an overachievement when you look at it in terms of the overall performance. On municipalities, the target for the work opportunities was 44,011. On the achievement for the work opportunities, we are sitting at 46,720. The target for the full-time equivalents was 15,735, and what has been achieved is 20,610, translating into 106% on work opportunities achieved and 131% on full-time equivalents. Then on the next slide, Chairperson, much as there has been an overachievement at a provincial level when you look at it and when you look at an overall percentage, but when you start zooming into each department, you will notice that some of the departments did not meet a certain target. I will make an example with the Department of Arts and Culture. Their target on work opportunities was 836, and they've only achieved 215. On full-time equivalents, their target was 428, and they've only achieved 58, translating to 26% on work opportunities achieved and only 14% on full-time equivalents. And the detailed report is as reflected. I will not go through each and every department, but those in red give an indication of not meeting the target, and those in green give an indication of having achieved or overachieved. The next slide is an overall performance of municipalities per district, which gives an indication of which districts met targets or overachieved and which district were unable to meet a target. I must also say, Chairperson, that when you zoom into each and every district, you will also notice that some municipalities have met target, but others did not meet the target. We can make that slide available as well to members if they want to zoom into each and every local municipality. But just an overall reflection, when you look at Umgungundlovu District Municipality, as an example, you will notice that the target was 4,025. As a district, they only achieved 2,371 on work opportunities, and on full-time equivalents, their target was 1,502. They only achieved 724, translating into work opportunities achieved in terms of a percentage, which is 59%, and on full-time equivalents, translating to only 48%. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Dlamini. HOD, are there any additions?
No, Honorable Chair, Honorable MEC.
Thank you, Chairperson. I just wish to remind the honorable members that actually the Department of Public Works is mandated to coordinate these programs of EPWP. Hence, we have now decided to beef up the capacity, of this division within our department. We have appointed the chief director, who is Mr. Dlamini, who have just made this presentation. And then we do have a division that is dealing with internal coordination and another one that is dealing with external coordination. So as much as we are reflecting on the municipalities or government departments that have not optimally performed, but the buck also stops with us. And we are committing that from now onwards, we will be paying attention to this so that job opportunities will be created for our people, and people will benefit optimally as it is expected. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you, MEC. Members, anyone who would like to take a bite on this one? I'm noting Honorable Mayor, welcome, Honorable Member. I'm noting Honorable Raj. I'm noting Honorable Mazibuko. Oh, okay. Honorable Mayor, you may come in.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and apologies for being late, and thank you for your kindness in allowing me to be a bit late. I didn't want to be like members from a certain party that talks while driving and get in trouble with the speaker.
I wonder. Please behave.
Always, Chair, always. I want to really extend how grateful I am to the MEC for her last remarks on this EPWP. EPWP has unfortunately been wrought with problems, and a large part of it is, from what I've seen since I've joined this committee, is the fact that the reporting to us as the overseeing body or the overseeing department has not been great from municipalities and from other departments. And then when that reporting is not correct, then our reports that we send on to the Auditor General and things like that is not correct. And you'll all remember that when it comes to EPWP, we didn't get a very glowing report from the Auditor General in the last report we got from him. So I'm very grateful for what the MEC said, that we are going to put a lot more focus on this. And I want to know what is within our power. So if we see another department that reports to us on these numbers, or a municipality that reports to us on these numbers, are not giving us the correct figures, or not doing it timelessly, or not keeping the correct reports, what actions are there that can be taken to remedy this? Because I don't want us to be the bulldog without any teeth that just growls, but we can't do anything to rectify the problem. So if we can just maybe hear what steps are going to be taken for those other departments and municipalities that's letting us down, and then we look bad as a public works department when we get audited on all these EPWP numbers. Then regarding the schools program and having someone there for the screening, I think that is a wonderful idea, and it is something that needs to be done. We just need to monitor that training, because it's not just from holding up a thermometer and reading a temperature. There's a lot more to it. So I see the Department of Health is going to be doing that training. Will it be done at the schools, because it'll be difficult to visit all the schools, or how this training can be done, because also we don't want to break the current regulations. So is everybody going to be brought together for this training, or how's the training going to be done on this? If the HOD could just give me some assistance. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Honorable Raj.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I really want to thank the Honorable MEC and HOD, because, this department really needed a chief director, and the idea of the internal and external coordinator is very important. It's because it's a very labor-intensive section, and that's why it's been underperforming, because it didn't have a good structure. But I'm glad that we're getting the structure right. I'm very happy with the two programs, the one both involving the schools, and I think our MEC has a lot of schools knowledge, so she knows that this is such an important thing, the one where we could do the COVID response and then the cutting of grass. I only have two things that concern me here. One was about the COVID response, the keeping of registers, because that's like maybe, I know the Department of Health will do training, but I'm just worrying about the keeping of the register, because that's an administrative task, and that then falls, who in the department, in the school management committee, or whether it's a school governing body, or whose responsibility will that be? Because a referral will have to be made if a child has a temperature exceeding, say, 38 degrees. So the thing is that that kind of thing, someone will be liable for it if registers are kept, but the referrals are not done properly. So I just wanted to see whose responsibility it would be. The other would be the grass cutting. Now, I heard Mrs. Dlamini say that the grass cutting, maybe a ward councillor will identify the person. But I just wanted to give a recommendation. When we leave something to a ward councillor, especially jobs, it becomes very politicized in every area. And I'm thinking that to keep this program running smoothly, we're dealing with the school governing body and give them that task, because they know what's wrong in their school, whether it's a window pane or the grass is grown. And because we have a referral point when there's a problem or there's underperformance or something like that. And we also not going across too many departments or political layers. We're just dealing with the school governing body and school issues. I thought for streamlining and success of the program. The other thing is that because this, we will see how this program goes, maybe another bit of homework would be to look at the Department of Safety and Security, which generally underperforms with expanded public works program, and yet a lot of things can be done, innovative things like the way you're doing with the schools program. So my recommendation to look at that as another option, what we can do there. And then finally, when the 3 months expires or 6 months expires, the department, this is a comment, I think that some sort of certification we must give to these youth or people who have worked for the department, in terms of their empowerment, so that they've got something to show. And maybe we can do a little program, like a thanks giving program and something like that. But these are just my thoughts around it, because I'm really excited that, this is being planned so nicely now. And it'll be really something achievable, and it's practical, and it'll make the right impact in places where we can really create jobs and empower people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Raj. I'm also noting the hand of Honorable Mshengu, Ngena Mazibuk, and Mayor again. I think he wants to come back. Nzim.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, my honorable colleagues, the MEC, and our colleagues from the Public Works. First, let me also applaud the MEC and the team, because there is a demonstration of taking this EPWP seriously, because of course it does play a very pivotal role in the lives of our people. And then secondly, in her remarks, the MEC spoke words which were sweet music in my ears: transparency, ensuring that there's no manipulation and corruption. Now, I want to within that context, I want to to focus on the slide that talks about the 6,000 EPWP workers. In particular, the question that SGBs will identify and recruit. Now, I'm just trying to check, because SGBs themselves are human beings. If that can be unpacked, does it mean whether they're 11 or 12, I don't know how many they are the only body that is responsible for that? If so, I'm a bit concerned, because transparency may be compromised, and manipulation may come in at some stage. Whether that can be unpacked for me, whether there is another sort of body or entity that tries to ensure that within the SGB there is transparency, there is no manipulation. That's the question I wanted to check.
Thank you, Nzima. Honorable Mshengu.
Thanks, Chair. I'm sorry to not have raised my hand initially. Nevertheless, perhaps just to start where Honorable Nzima has left off, I would assume that perhaps the policy says, or the guideline says, it's the SGB and the school principal or a member of the SMT. Then it means you have those checks and balances. You don't just have a governing body unilaterally taking one of their friend or perhaps picking one amongst themselves, but it will be an open and transparent process where the SMT will equally be comfortable with the candidate selected, because at the end of the day, we are dealing with very vulnerable groups here, children, and it must be a trustworthy member of society who will then need to be selected. But back to my issue, Chairperson, is that each school will have one EPW person. Then what happens if this person does not show up? Would there be a contingency plan in case a person falls sick? It's winter time now, and who will actually make sure that the very same person is tested and is COVID-19 free? I just wanted to I know it may be a bit too technical, but we must try and cover all the tracks in relation to this, because it's a matter that deals with the lives of our children. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Mshengu. MEC and your team.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. With your permission, I'll ask Mr. Dlamini to deal with the EPWP part, and then I'll come in and just fill the gaps at the end. Thanks, Chair. Mr. Dlamini.
Thank you, Chairperson. Maybe I should start with the last one, and welcoming the comments and also the questions. The Honorable Mshengu, why we opted for one person instead of...
Okay, sorry.
Why we opted for one person instead of two? It's because of budgetary constraints. However, we note your question. And the second part of it, we really have to consider it, and it's something we're going to discuss with the Department of Health and the Department of Education, that before they commence with their duties, the beneficiaries, we need to ensure that they are COVID clean, so to say. And Honorable Mazibuko, I think Honorable Mshengu did cover me to some extent in terms of the transparency insofar as recruitment is concerned, that it's not only the school governing bodies that are responsible, but also the school principals will be part of a team to ensure transparency, and that everyone must be satisfied within the school on how the recruitment was done. And the other question was regarding the keeping of registers. The registers will be kept by the principal. In fact, the principal is responsible for keeping of registers. The other comments that were made, especially around the issue of the SGPs and try to keep politics away from the recruitment process, it's a comment that we note on our side as people who are responsible for EPWP, and also the exit strategy. We do have an exit strategy as a Department of Public Works that we can actually share with members through emails when our programs come to an end. There is some sort of training and some sort of capacitating that takes place for our beneficiaries. And the last one, which I've noted, is on the issue of training that Honorable Mayor raised, that in terms of the reporting, that how confident are we with the reports or with the stats that we receive from municipalities? Before we capture the reports or stats that we receive from municipalities and other government departments, we first wait for the system to be uploaded, because all that information is uploaded within the reporting system. It first goes national, and once it's validated from national, then only we report those stats. We do not just go to municipalities and ask them for stats or wait for municipalities to give us as a department. They must report through a reporting system so that we can confirm credibility of information that is submitted. And insofar as the training is concerned, the training will be conducted by the Department of Health, but at a more local level, because they have a program that they've been running of training the trainer. So they don't only have trainers at the provincial level, they go as far as district, and those that are trained at the district level will then train other people at a local level, so that we are able to comply as well with the COVID-related issues. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Dlamini. HOD.
Chair. Oh.
Follow-up question, Mhlonishwa Unzima.
Thank you very much, Chair. Now, something has just come to my mind again with regards to the SGPs. There are schools, it's a reality, where SGPs are dysfunctional. How do we navigate in such circumstances?
HOD.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I'll start with that very question from Honorable Masabuga. I think we putting it broadly, but the reference is a consultative process to make sure that, because the sensitivity of putting someone in exposing the children, the learners of a school is sensitive. So you can't just put anyone in. Between the principal, who's going to do the administrative appointment, and the school governing body, they know the people in the community. I heard Mr. Dlamini speaking about I think Honorable Mshengu, as administrative as those issues are you've raised, you've actually really caught us off guard, because I must be honest, we didn't think of the person who's doing the testing and screening actually getting sick or needing to test, and that's valuable for us, because it's now sending us into a panic. We must make sure that there's alternatives, and when Honorable Rajbansi was speaking about the registers, The expectation from the screener is that they're going to also keep a register of everyone that comes into the school, so that if there's any cases there, we can use those registers as a point of reference. Honorable Chair, let me stop there. If there's anything else, on the Honorable MEC.
Honorable Chairperson and honorable members, what I would like to say is that we have noted all the concerns raised by honorable members in this meeting. We will go back and perhaps look at all those gaps that might arise. Honorable members should take note of the fact that we had to fast track this program and think broadly because of what is presenting itself to us right now. There was an expectation by the Department of Education that those educators who will not be teaching will participate in this program of screening after having trained. But the unions refused the participation. They could not cooperate with that. So as the social cluster, we had to think on how to intervene then in this situation that was imminent and that needed us to really think outside of the box. So hence we then introduced this program. It's for a period of 3 months only, members, and then it will be we would have learned a lot out of it. In fact, the MEC for Health even thought of us recruiting the nurses that are unemployed currently, but because of time constraints, we couldn't even have sufficient time to deal with that particular matter. But going forward, if perhaps this COVID-19 continues beyond a period of 3 months, then the government will have to review the entire program. So please bear with us, honorable members. We didn't really have time to think broadly about this. About all the other matters. We really wanted to see our schools opening, and we wanted to see our teachers being screened and educators being screened before going back to their classrooms. We do appreciate the advice that was given by Honorable Rajbansi with regards to certification of participants, so that when they come out of the program, they have something to show. We'll consider that it's a good advice, honorable members. So, with regards to what will be happening down there regarding employee recruitment, in war room meetings, in most cases, they are presided over by councillors. When we are saying the councillors approve, we are saying after having discussed with all participants in the war room, they agree, they identify destitute families, and then they identify a person in a particular household who should be considered for the program. Then the councillor, as the chairperson of the war room, then endorses the name, because, of course, that name would have been endorsed by the meeting, by that war room. So that is why we are saying councillors approve. Honourable members, we really appreciate all your contributions. We will take them into our consideration. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Honorable Chair, can I say something, add something?
Yes, Honorable Rajpan.
I was just thinking, because of the problem that we may face with the one person and and the thing is if someone gets sick. But I was thinking, what happens if we train both the people, even the person who's going to be cutting grass, etc., because they're going to be like sort of concurrently working in the school. But if we train all of them about COVID, because it's very important for everyone to be skilled there, so that the day that maybe the COVID person gets sick, then the other person can step in to help them. It can work, but I think that the department should think about it, because we have to look at the money, the budget issues as well. But I don't think so anyone will refuse getting trained and maybe multitasking, because it may be now and again that may happen. But a window and all that and grass may not be cut every day, or a window may not be broken every day, but you have to test the temperature of the children every day. So sometimes even for the congestion of the temperature, and what, because a lot of school children, so you want to save time, then maybe 2 people can be testing so that it doesn't look awkward. I just think that we must think a little more creatively around it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Raj. MEC, do you like to respond?
Noted, Chair. I think it's a good advice, but honourable members should also consider the fact that there are budgetary constraints that we are faced with. But we'll consider what Honourable Raj is saying right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabonga Mamlam, with your team. I think we have come to the end of our first session with the department. Let me thank you for coming to this committee to present, giving us honest answers, responses, giving us the presentations, and thank you very much for sending the reports. We appreciate it, especially if the reports are sent in time. Thank you very much. Let me release you, Honorable MEC, with your team, so that as this committee, we look at 2 items that are committee matters. Siyabonga kakhulu, ngicela ukunikhulula. Members, can we proceed? Ngiyabonga kakhulu. Hayi, anginikhululi nina.
Yes, Chair, we can proceed.
Can we proceed? Nestor, can you please beam the report? Please beam the committee report now.
Yes, sir.
Honorable members, let's have a look at the report. That will be the reflection of what we have done as this committee. Can you continue? Introduction, I'm sure, is not that important for now, but you have been given enough time to go through it. Considering that we have only 10 minutes, this is what we came up with, honorable members, but it covers everything. Can I check with members? Is there anyone who would like to add on this report?
Chair.
Okay, I'm noting Umshengu is moving for an adoption. Honorable Zintlekele.
No, Chair, I want.
Chair.
Okay, I'm noting.
No, I wanted to check, Chair. I saw an amount for the budget cut. Is that the old budget cut, or is the one that finance is still going to implement because of COVID-19? Which one is that? Is that other budget cut that we are reflecting on the document?
Okay. Olandelayo. Honorable Mayor. Honorable Mayor.
I didn't raise my hand, but I'm happy. Thank you, Chair.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Any other hand?
No.
Tabi?
Chairperson.
Honorable Chair.
Honorable Chair.
Honorable
Chair, sorry for interjecting, Honorable Chair and honorable members. With your permission, Chair, I just wanted to guide the meeting in terms of the procedure that needs to be adopted when adopting the budget report, that it should be per party. I just wanted to guide, Honorable Chair.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
I was in a meeting this morning in agriculture where we were advised that according to section 139 so and so it should be a person. I'm sure Honorable Duma is with me on this one.
Yeah,
you correct, Chairperson. Yeah.
So we don't mind in this committee to do both so that we covered. So both people who are advising are legal gurus of our legislature, so that we are safe as this committee. We are going to do it as individuals and also as parties. It's fine. But before that, I wanted to check with Tabi. Tabi, are you in?
Yebo, Sihlalo.
Can you respond to umbuzo Kamamvelase with budget cutting?
Yebo, Sihlalo, i-budget cutting is for 2020-2021, but ngizocela uPrishen awuphendule kabanzi njengo-budget analyst. Ngiyabonga, Sihlalo.
Prishen, can you come in? I'm noting you, Honorable Nzima. Prishen, can you come in?
Good morning, honorable members, honorable chairperson. Yes, the budget cuts is for this current year. There's budget cuts for the next 3 years, and the one that we've put onto the system over here, I just want to get my figures right. One moment, please. Is in respect of this current year for the 2021, and this is for not only this specific department, it is all for the various other departments as well too. Each of the departments are taking budget cuts for the next 3 financial years, and possibly because of the COVID expenditure going forward, there'll be future budget cuts. But the one in the speech is reflective of this current year for 2021.
Thank you, Prashin. Honorable Nzima. Nzima, I've noticed that your hand was up.
Honorable Chairperson, yes, it was up. I wanted to check one thing. Is it the maiden speech, this one? So I think I'm going to debate against the MEC. If I can be corrected, but again, let me say the IFP approves of the report, and Joshua Mazibuko does so.
Thank you, Honorable Mazibuko. We are seconder umhlonishwa umsheni. Yes, come in, Honorable Raj.
Yeah, I don't want to worry you, but Honorable Chair, I was trying for a long time to tell you that on page 3.
Okay.
On page 3, right?
Yes.
I think it's, well, that's 1, 2, 3. It's the second paragraph.
Okay.
Where you say, furthermore, the committee noted. It should be noted, right? But you should add a D there. But I thought that we should add one extra sentence as the committee, because we did a lot of work in this committee, you will know, about continuously getting COVID-19 responses from the department. So I think that somehow after we say reprioritize certain areas, we should say that the committee engaged the department on their COVID-19 responses, which impacted on the fourth quarter. And then you should say the committee is determined to closely monitor any costs associated with that. But I feel that we should tell Parliament that we've had so many of those COVID-19 response in this committee.
Thank you, Honorable Raj. We are taking that. Honorable Zinhle Cele.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Honorable members, I know that the report has been moved and seconded, but for the good spirit of the meeting, I'm allowing the members to contribute because this is our report. It's not that I'm acting outside the meeting procedures. No, I'm letting you to come in with all the additions that you feel because this is your report. Thank you. I'm also noting Honorable Mazibuko. Velas.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you very much for allowing us leeway. As you say that this is our report that we must present to the House. After the clarity that I've received, I therefore also support the report, and the ANC supports the report as well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Whip. I'm also been reminded that it's only 10 minutes, so that we are going to use. So indeed, our report must not be long.
Honorable Chair, can I say that I, Honorable Raj Bansi, am supporting this report, the adoption of this report on behalf of the minorities. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Raj. Other members? EFF?
On behalf of EFF, we support the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Another party, the party DA, Honorable Mayor, you have seconded.
We support. Yeah. No, thank you. We
Thank
support.
you. Members, Mshem. Duma.
Thank you so much, Duma from the ANC. We support.
Thank you, members. I hope we have covered both the suggestion from our legal gurus. Ngena Msholozi.
Ungangikhohlwa nami ngihamba la khambe khona oza kwethu.
Awungakhohlwa kanjani kodwa Nxamalala. Ngiyabonga. Thank you, members. Can we proceed to the last item, which is the AOP? As this committee members, we are one of those committees who are very proactive, who dealt with the issue of both AOPs last year. But I believe since there is this COVID pandemic, there are changes there and there that our cluster manager would like to share with us in terms of our AOP. Can we allow him an opportunity just to go straight to those areas so that as this committee, we reaffirm our commitment to this AOP? Mkhulu, ngicela ungene. Mr. Nxumalo.
Thank you, Chairperson. Ngiyabonga Sihlalo. There are only 2 pages la kunama changes khona. Thank you Sihlalo, and my apology that